Good afternoon, this is George from Straight Shooter Custom Arrows. I'd like to do a video today on my jig carousel and explain it and clear up some stuff that people have asked me over the phone. I think this might help. Joe, take a picture of Lemon, the shop dog. Lemon, good girl, just had a haircut, she looks beautiful. All right, let's jump right into it. Let's start off with the 10-point jigs. I have 3 set up for 10-point. Straight Fletch, short vanes, and long vanes. Okay? Short vanes is set up at 1.5 right offset, long vanes at 2-degree offset, and the straight Fletch is obviously straight. So, on the 10-point jigs, I have these polymer cups in there. Alright, and what these cups, how they were made is they were 3D printed, and then I took an old aluminum alpha knock from 10-point. I heat this knock up with a torch, and I press this knock down into that cup till it molds for the knock, so the knock fits right in there. The reason I do this is because when you're fletching and you have the knock in there, alright, so the knock's pressed down. So, let's say I mess up a vane. Let's say I don't like the way the vane sits. Let's say the vane's not sitting down all the way. This allows me to pull this out, strip that vane off, no matter what vane it is, put it back in there, and it's repeatable. It's so repeatable, so accurate, and so on the same money all the time, instead of sliding it over the chuck that Dorch sells with these, and you can't really find that exact same spot. Now notice on here how I have the Allen key in here, because on this production jig right here, the way the angle and the steepness of it, if you don't have this Allen key on here, this thing's going to just keep flopping over like that. So this little ingenious thing right here allows me just to set that arrow in there, turn it as I rotate to orient and spin the knock like that, and it just stays right there. So that's the 10-point jig. All right, let's go to left offset. Had a lot of people from Mission Crossbows inquiring about left offset, so I decided to set one up with left offset. So on this particular jig, what I have is I have Dorch's V-clamp, okay? So this way, all I do is use this little head from Dorch, this little knock, okay? And it slides right over the V-clamp, like that, clips right on, and that way I can rotate, I can take it off. If I have to strip a vane off, I can get it right back on in the same spot. Once again, Allen key, got the feather extender on all my jigs from Dorch, okay, from Fire Knock. And if you notice, I use the same, I keep the same clamp with the same jig, because they are honed down, they are ground down to fit this jig and the arrows so everything lays flush. I don't mix these clamps up. All right, let's go to the next jig. I have a straight Fletch for Scorpion. This is for Scorpion and Raven crossbows. So this would be Arrow Vane 2s, Scorpion and Raven crossbows. And I have in there, I don't have one to show you, but it's a much wider version of this V-jig, V-chuck, and the Q-knock or the Raven knock will fit right over this and stay right in there and allow me to rotate it and repeatability, pull it off, put it on, pull it off, pull it on. All right? So that's for Scorpion and Raven straight Fletch. Then I have Scorpion and Raven right offset. All right, on that one, I have the same chuck as the straight Fletch, the fatter version of the V-chuck, which I don't have an extra one to show you, I apologize. And that is for Raven and Scorpion right offset. Half moon. So we go back to this little cup, this 3D printed cup. So instead of taking the knock and heating it up and molding, it's already been molded, all right, from the 3D printer, so it just fits the half moon perfect. So when I'm fletching a half moon, sorry guys, came out. When I'm fletching a half moon, All I do is slide the knock on, put it in, there we go. Repeatability, repeatability. I can pull it out, put it back in, pull it out, put it back in. So remember, 10 points got a molded cup, flat knock, and Half Moon have the cup that we have made straight from the 3D printer. Right helical, been using this one a lot lately for X-Cows. Beautiful, beautiful fletching. I love the right helical, love the way it looks. It reminds me of propellers when you look at the back end of it, love it. So, right helical. So there you go, guys. I have 8 jigs set up. I have 2 down here at this other turntable, 1 left helical, and 1 I haven't set up yet because I haven't decided what I needed. So let's go through them real quick. Right helical, 10-point straight fletch, 10-point short vanes. By short vanes, you guys, I mean 225s, blazers, all right, things like that. 10-point long vanes, which are 3.15s, Fletch Flex, Vane Techs. Left offset. Anybody can have left offset if they want it, but it's mostly been mission guys. Scorpion Raven straight fletch. Scorpion Raven right offset. Half Moon flat knock, which is Barnett 10-point, center point, not 10 points, sorry. Barnett, center point, Killer Instinct, so on and so on, and then right helical. All right, I want to show you something real quick here, Joan. Let's try to get a picture of this. So the hardest thing about this 10-point setting up, I have spent probably 40 hours down here locked in this room. All right, probably wasted 1,000+ vanes trying to figure this out and trying to set this up the right way. That little cup, as ingenious as it is the most frustrating thing to try to set a jig up with. Because if you have to have it exactly right, so when this knot goes in there, all right, when you set your hen vanes down, what you want is you want this line, can you get a picture of that, Joan? You want this line to be completely horizontal like that. So when you set it down in your rail, it's going back and the string's riding very even in there, all right? And I'm telling you guys, hours and hours and hours of taking this little chuck, turning it a micromillimeter to the right, a micromillimeter to the left, getting the offset just perfect, because everything plays into how this ends up. Because you can't take this like a flat knock or a half moon knock and twist it a little bit either way. So when you take it out of that jig, this fletching's got to be on the money, on the money, on the money. I've almost blown my brains out down here, wasted so many vanes trying to get this right, and I finally got it set up, and one of my good people said, set it and forget it and leave it alone. So they're all set up and I'm leaving them alone. So anybody have any questions, feel free to call me. Anybody want any help setting up their fire knock jig, feel free to call me. I'll give you any advice I can. So thank you from Straight Shooter Custom Arrows. Look forward to my next video. Thank you guys.